To so much of this criticism today about these layoffs. Before we get to that, let's bring in Chris Harper. He's the CEO of ZipScript, and you've been following this story all week. And Chris, thanks for being with us. But let's talk about the future of Twitter. But first, let's talk about so many of these layoffs that have happened in the last 24 hours. Some estimates, Chris, say that, almost half of Twitter's workforce has been let go. Elon Musk, though, responding today with this, saying regarding Twitter's reduction in force, unfortunately, there is no choice. When the company is losing over $4 million a day, everyone exited and was offered 3 months of severance, which is 50% more than legally required. Do you know people who work at Twitter? Were they let off today?
Everyone expected some type of change, and the change is here. Obviously, the company has a lot of debt. He's got to service that debt. Changes were coming. Changes have been made. And I think it was very fair of him to do 50% more than legally required. But we'll see what else is to come.
Yeah, also, Chris, I was wondering, too, now that we are a week removed from this, let's talk about some of the, people that might come back on the platform that were, quote unquote, deplatformed for whatever reason. What are the procedures in place, do you think? Or maybe there aren't any in place just yet. But is Elon Musk thinking about that? Could we see some of these people who haven't been on Twitter in months, in years, back on the platform?
Yeah, I know that's a hot topic. It's yet to be seen who he's going to let back on the platform, but I know a lot of stuff has been going around about the blue check mark and the verification of actual users on the platform, ensuring that they're real people. I think that's hugely beneficial to the platform. Whether or not Elon decides to charge for it is yet to be seen. I know there's rumors here that he'll charge $8 to do it, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, Chris, I want to put up this tweet, too. We're just kind of cycling through because that's how we kind of divine where he's going with this. He's very transparent about his next moves, if you will. So he was responding earlier in the week to a lot of people asking this same question. But he says, Twitter will not allow anyone who is deplatformed for violating Twitter rules back on platform until we have a clear process for doing so, which will take at least a few more weeks. So that question, I guess, is still up in the air. But let's talk about the content moderation question, because a lot of people are wondering what that is going to look like. Are we going to see even more of a hellscape on this platform? I use it probably too many times a day, but I'm a journalist, and we get our news from that, unfortunately. But many are worried about misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, and the like. Do you think we'll see more of it?
I think things take time, right? He just got a hold of the company. I think people need to give him a chance. He is Elon Musk, after all. He's done a fairly amazing job at all his other enterprises. So I think give the guy time. I think there's a lot of people being very harsh on him. And I think on the other side of the coin, there's a lot of people that think he's their savior. I think let's give the guy time. Give him a few months, give him a year, and see what happens to the platform. But I personally do not believe it will turn into a hellscape. I think with the tweet you brought up earlier, I think what he's looking to do is bring in some sort of judicial system, some sort of court system, so that people don't just get banned without any recourse.
Yeah, of course. I wanted to get your thoughts as well on this whole verification question, because it is kind of the have and have-nots on the platform. But some would argue that that blue check was earned, obviously, free of charge to a lot of people, but the following that many have accrued and generated, and that blue check mark is evidence of that. Do you think a lot of people will pay $8 a month to keep it?
I think it's a great question, and for context, I run a education verification business that verifies education claims globally and instantly, and we actually offer a service that allows people to add a blue check mark to their LinkedIn profile that verifies their higher education claims. And so I think I'm able to speak to this. I do think people will do it. I do think it's fair. I think it's interesting to charge for it. I think there's probably a different way to do it, which I would make it free, or effectively free in terms of very cheap. But I would have something in place where you have a KYC, where maybe it's verify somebody's identity via passport, driver's license, or something. And I think that'll really help get rid of the trolls on the platform, get rid of bots. And I think that's a great step in the right direction to cleaning up Twitter. Whether or not he charges $8 for it is a whole other question.
Yeah. Chris, let's get you to kind of react to this tweet he did today, kind of responding to some of the loss of ad revenue, at least in his eyes. He says Twitter has had a massive drop in revenue due to activist groups pressuring advertisers, even though nothing has changed with content moderation, and we did everything we could to appease the activists. Extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America. You know, a lot of people may think or have said that Elon Musk just kind of threw away $44 billion, that this is a money-losing venture, but he wants to cut costs. That's what we've seen with the layoffs today. He wants to find places where he can trim, but then he tweets something like that today. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I think at the end of the day, if he's able to keep users on the platform, grow the platform, advertisers will be there. Where there are users, there are advertisers. In the short term, maybe they're concerned about what may happen on the platform with Elon's purchase, but I think in time they'll come back if Elon's able to do his job, and obviously Elon has a vested interest in growing the platform.
Okay, you're the CEO of a company, and this is a tech company, and so if you had to fire half your workforce to cut costs, how do you operate?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think it's nuanced in this particular instance because he's now purchased the company, so he's coming in. It's not a company he's been operating or started. So he has a different management style. He sees things differently. Elon, at his core and his original self, is an engineer. And engineers like efficiencies. And I think Elon probably saw a lot of bloat. I know there's a lot of debt in the company. And the way he does things, it's his managerial style. I'm not here to judge his style. Obviously, it's been effective at SpaceX and Tesla. So let's see if it's effective at Twitter.
Okay, you seem quite bullish. What do you say to the critics, though, that say Twitter could be dead in a couple of years?
Hey, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I am a bullish person. I'm an optimist by nature, but you know, anything could happen. This could affect Twitter. This could maybe reduce Twitter's users with Elon. Maybe his strategy is incorrect. No one always has the golden touch. So, like I said earlier, I think time will tell. At least give the man a chance. I think all of us would like to have a chance at anything in life, be given at least some kind of chance. So let's see what he does with it.
All right, Chris, just last question. Going into next week and into the month, what are you looking for to happen with Twitter, maybe some of Elon's decision-making? What's next? What are you keeping your eye on?
I'm really interested in the people that you mentioned earlier were deplatformed. We know there's an election coming up, and this is a very hot topic right now in the United States of America. So let's see what happens with that. Will he bring in some sort of court system? Will there be some sort of due course for people that were kicked off the platform? And then also with the checkmark thing, I think it's going to be really interesting, and I'm hopeful it works out.
All right, Chris Harper, we appreciate your time, your insight into this. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll speak again.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.